piloting skills will show in your fleet, and you'll have the people that have slightly less navigation skills that will be, you know, 10 or 5 meters per second slower. That gap will slowly spread out, as well as people's reaction times when they anchor, when they turn their prom mods on, etc. So you have Test warping up to Bookmark, regrouping their fleet. Looks like all the bubbles are down now, and the warp is gone. Oh boy. Welp. That was not good. That was very not good for these CO2 guys. Like, this guy needs to jump out right now. Oh, nope, too late. So you have an Aeon, 2 Aeons, this Stanny got out. But now you have 2 Aeons with no triage support, and the Nightmare's landing on them at 0. This is not a good look for these soups. That triage needs to warp back immediately. Now, if you're Test right now, you are throwing as many bubbles as possible towards where they warped to. There's this right here. You are just putting bubbles, you are just burning towards this, and you are putting bubbles down. So that if these guys warp back, they will land way out of range. So you have some Boucher, a Boucher Lumpy trying to help CO2 here. He got a bubble, which is nice, but not nearly enough that you need to. So which one of these are they shooting? They're shooting these guys. Oh, they're shooting the micro jump, or the command destroyers. So I'm waiting for, yeah, they're right now what they're doing is they're trying to confirm this field, right? They're trying to remove anything that could move these bubbles off. But you can see some of these lumpy command destroyers are doing work moving bubbles, but there's just way too many. Now CO2 can, if they have triage in another system that's in jump range, they can warp a Sino, warp an interdiction nullified Sino T3 directly in here and light a Sino and jump them in from the other side. But they're gonna have to do it quick. And my one regret is that I can't lock this guy up to see his hit points. So we're just gonna keep an eye on him. I would like to get cool, sweet camera angles, but I really also want to keep an eye on the actual overall fight here. So I think that's more important than getting pretty screenshots right now. Then when this guy dies, it will take him a while to blow up. Who started this? There was a Satio that Test wanted to help defend, CO2 wanted to kill, CO2 set up a gate camp on a regional gate to keep Test from going to hell. And then once that was over, you had CO2 caps tried to extract by warping over here, where you see them now. However, 2 Aeons were not aligned and got caught. Got bubbled immediately. So, unless something spectacular happens here, this may just be a cut and run situation, so I might get to see a couple supers die here. If you say anything in chat, make sure if you ask me questions in chat, make sure you at me so that I notice it, because I'm trying to keep an eye. I don't want to miss anything here. What FC do you look up right now to in-game? Copydoking asks. Capri-sun, Craft Foods, has been kind of a mentor to me for a long time. So I certainly look up to him. I think back in the day, Elo Knight was someone to look up to in terms of, you know, like he put in the hours, and he was definitely good. But yeah, probably Cap. There's plenty of good FCs that I look up to. I think Kendar is a really cool dude. If he was in my alliance, I assume we would be tag teaming shit constantly, because he seems like a really cool dude. I've talked to him a bit, and yeah, so you can say I hate goons, but I don't. And Kendar is one of my favorite FCs in the game, and he's a goon, so there you go. So it doesn't look like, yeah, there's even bubbles over on top of these dudes, so it doesn't look like anyone's coming to help these guys. I think this will be a case of, you were not aligned, eat shit, suck my cock, retard. My thought on Villi and PGL as FCs? Oh, that's complicated. They both have a lot of experience. I find I think you can look at what they have done in test, and you can see that they came from somewhere else, because they have a very pragmatic and clinical decision making when it comes to committing to fights. They weigh more heavily on will pragmatically we win this fight or won't we? Oh, we have drones moving now. That's not good. It probably means this guy's about to eat shit. But yeah, they both have plenty of experience. I think it's dangerous not to take into account your members' desire to fight, even if you like lose the ISK war, like the Keepstar fight, for example. You know, I think you needed to kill that Keepstar, my dude. Like, even if you sacrifice some caps to do it, I think even if you go ISK negative overall, like I think that's really important for your line members to get something out of all that. Cloudy Worlds, what's up? First time Eve viewer. What you are looking at, it's a little complicated. So these orange guys, right? All the orange little chevrons are players in ships, so just one player per ship. And what they've done is they've basically the red guys, which you can see over here, so all these red guys were on this Stargate. Oh, we gotta stop. I'll get to this in a second. And the red guys tried to leave, but these two red ships, one here and one in the middle of this ball, these are drones. These are sort of mobile weapons that you send out at your enemies. These two were not correctly prepared to make the escape with all the others. So all the others escaped, but these two were caught at the last moment. And now, these spheres are keeping the red guys from coming back in to help their friends, because if they try to move from here to here, they'll land on the edge of the spheres. And the orange guys are just murdering these. And these are super carriers. These are, probably the second most expensive class of ship in the game. You're talking... I forget what the sort of like ISK to money translation is, but you're talking about hundreds of dollars for each of these ships. And it looks like no support is coming. So you're looking at lasers. These laser effects are the orange guys, which are Test Alliance, their ships shooting. These sort of purple and blue waves that you see are energy neutralizers. Those are going to take capacitor, which is the energy source, kind of like mana for a ship, to use its abilities and its modules and so on. Oh, we have the first Aeon is dead. So you can watch this explosion happen. It's a little Eve chicanery here. This is the wreck of the Aeon, and this is the Aeon actually blowing up. And there she goes. So you see these guys are trying to get the loot. They're trying to get the items that drop from that guy. And this is permanent ship loss. So this is time, money, oftentimes real life money invested in these ships that when they get destroyed, they're gone forever. So yeah, there's a lot of effects going on right now. You see these colorful spheres that expand and dissipate are called command bursts. They're sort of like short-term AoE buffs that are applying here. You can see this one as well. The different kinds of effects are for different kinds of buffs. These are the shield buffs. You see these blue tendrils, and then various other kinds as well. So basically this fleet is using energy neutralizers to turn off all the active modules on this super carrier, and then they're just using their weapons to destroy it. But it's going to take a little bit. How much in DPM is that ship taking? I don't know what that is. Is that like DPS but minute? I'm not sure. It would be a complete guess. looks like caps are what, docking up? This must be a Fortizar. Yep. So it looks like caps are docking up over there. So they have abandoned this man. Try staging. Went from 240 to 110. Mac fleet's possibly coming. I don't think you get here in time to save this though. Honestly, I would assume that more triage somewhere else was kind of your option for jumping in to save this guy. Let's see. Going S negative to win objective sounds like goons. It depends, you know? It depends on what your objective is, and whether you have fun killing it. Why not just self-destruct and move on? You never know if you're going to get saved. These guys have a lot of hit points, and armor supers can be full passive tanked with a lot of hit points. So even with all these newts and these guns shooting him, it could take quite a while for him to die, so you never know if you're going to get saved. Yeah, it looks like CO2 is just letting these dudes die. So we'll try to get some close-up shots here. I don't want to miss something else happening. But yeah, our boy is getting messed up here. It doesn't look like anyone's coming to save him. So these two supers together will be well worth losing the Satio over. In terms of raw ISK value. Now I'm not sure if anything was in build in that Satio, or if it's needed for, you know, war efforts, so that could be a situation where it's actually more valuable. We'll see. Yeah, the supers, a cheapo super normally ends up being like 22, 23 billion ISK, and then a reasonably fit one is like 25 to 28, and then they kind of go up from there. Yeah, the longer you keep these caps on the gate, that's what I was saying before. The longer these boys are playing with the nightmares, the more of a risk of something like this happening. Now, to be fair, all these caps should have been aligned, or at least jumped out, right? You should have, like, if you are in this fleet, you are aligned to the fort, and it looked like a fleet warp to me. So, as a cap pilot, you have your finger on your jump button to a beacon or your safe out sign or whatever have you. And as soon as that warp happens, if you don't enter warp immediately, you just jump. Yeah, it's completely possible that he bumps off of someone else in that alignment, but that's why you are ready. You have to be ready to jump if that happens. You know, you should know when you hear take this warp and you don't see it, you just go. Once that warp is called, you know it's initiated by the FC, so you know if you're going, you're going. So second Aeon still getting killed. We have local still going up a bit, but nothing amazing, I don't think. Let's do another local scan. Yeah, I don't see anyone coming to the rescue. This is more test, basically. I think blood's in the water. So we have... Who are the FCs? Oh, IST's here. Hey, what's up, IST? Am I allowed to spam my... Oh, like averin.com now. Am I allowed to spam my link in here? I just did it once. It's fine. Alright, so I don't think help is coming. There's just wait. There's so many bubbles in the way. So we will just take a look. Let's do it. Full screenshot mode. Update my stream title to CO2 Aeons eating shit or eating dirt. Yeah, when you're warping caps out, you generally want, like, if you have a mixed cap, because they had a lot of carriers in triage as well. I don't see why you don't just warp the supers first. like Compudoking says. But if anything, you at least as a super pilot prepare to save your own butt, you know? Like, I don't think anyone can blame you. Although, to be fair, if you were to jump, like, let's say the FC said, take this warp, you didn't get the warp, you jumped, and then the FC was like, oh, I messed up, and then the fleet gets bubbled, but you jumped out, you might get Gig X later that day. You might suddenly find your Keepstar tethering rights revoked. And why can't these expensive ships, like, solo these little ships? Because A, they're going to get defanged, which means their fighters are going to get killed by how many ships are here, and the super carrier is primarily a fighter platform. And B, these ships, oh, down he goes. The test ships have enough logistics that they're going to be able to hold off one armor super. And even if they do, even if you can kill some as a sand pilot, you're never going to kill enough in time to save yourself. There's that explosion. What corp is that super in? Shit, I didn't check. It was, what? Laser Hole or something was the guy's name. His pod's already gone. So, 2 soups down. Good fight test. Caps are still over here. CO2 dead supers, that's a good meme. I give that a 6.5 out of 10. Oh yeah, you're right. The Rex will show. Let's look. This was the second guy who just died. Ordo Draconis, whoever that is. Let's check. Are you risky? No, it seems to be regular dudes, at least in English. Are these? Did those Rex already get hoovered up by salvagers? So we can check Rex here, right? And we can look Amar battleships. These are going to be nightmares. So I'm only seeing like 8 killed. A couple lumpy destroyers, a couple of jackdaws here, a bunch of lumpy elite destroyers. These are going to be the Bushers, and there's some other stuff. Alright, so we have some more questions as we just keep an eye on this. Why couldn't the friendly supers go back and save him? If you notice, these spheres of warp disruption bubbles are in a line and they are pointing right over here. So this right here is your Fortizar where all the other caps warp to. Excuse me. And what Test did very well is that they immediately started flying towards this ball and bubbling. So any warp that's going to come from these guys to their friends over here, they're going to land in these bubbles, and they're going to be just as worse off. The only thing you could say is that they could have, you know, gotten someone to some kind of like a ping down here somewhere, right, off to the side, landed at it, and then launched their fighters and just try to go from there. But the question is whether it's worth recommitting like that when your caps have already been out for at least like an hour, and you don't know if someone's coming to get them. Decord, sorry if you don't like the music. I normally don't run music, but there was nothing going on before. So I just had it to kind of fill the space. Let's see. And yeah, like that's the thing is if you have a pretty serious risk the longer you leave caps out that enemies are forming dread bombs in case you make a mistake. So if you warp the supers and caps back in here and they have been forming those dread bombs, and then you're risking even more. So I mean, it's a decision you make whether you recommit or whether you don't. But yeah, I think I probably agree with letting these guys die based on the situation that I'm aware of. I think I probably agree with that. It's hard. It also depends on where the other people are. I appreciate that we're able to chat in here without having to like, follow, and subscribe for 10 months first. Well, thank you. Treyumer. Yeah, that's, you know, there. I don't want to. There are some other streams that cover Eve stuff, that don't have that have some difficulties. I think that obstacles they put away. So yeah, thank you very much. You know, I don't run ads. I'm not gonna run ads. I think ads on Twitch are cancerous. So you'll never see me run an ad. I'll always be doing commentary anytime there's anything interesting to commentate on. And I will always try to stream and be as impartial as possible. You know, there are some... I posted a Reddit thread yesterday about my stream, and there was a lot of people in there who said they, you know, they couldn't trust me, etc., which is fine. I completely understand it. But you know, I'm here to kind of try to earn that trust and show you guys that, you know, yes, I do have personal feelings about both of the people who were on field today. But I try not to let that come across. And I certainly am not going to push any narrative that is, you know, some kind of whatever. Oh, hey, Jason. Did you have fun, buddy? That looked like a lot of fun, dude. It's my my buddy in test. So test landing here. And I assume if they go through this gate, they're probably good.